Welcome back to the Blissful Badger. Sometimes when you're trying to decide what project you should be working on, you might have a few ideas, but not the motivation to do so. Sometimes, something random that you've been putting off might just be calling to you. In those situations, the best thing you can do is not ignore those models, but actually just work on them for a while. You may not get them done, but at least something will be getting done. Well, it's been 30 minutes, and even though it doesn't look very much different, all of the chainmail is painted chainmail. I feel like doing a little bit more, so how about what color am I doing their armor, their chest armor? I think I'll do the scouts in the same color. Well, I'm an hour in now, and I've been doing some of the rough iron on the armor and the helmets. And I decided that the shields should also be the same color as the mail, because it would be too much of the rough iron if I did it in that color. So there we go. That's going to be what those models look like once I get more of those. And then we also still have the shields over there to do and the armor on them. But we're an hour in so far. Not bad. Well, another hour has passed. I've now been working on these models for 2 hours. And I have some scouts with bows, with their armor done. And I have scouts with swords and scouts with swords and shields, with all of their metal done. I have some of the warriors taken care of, but not all of them. I have one of my kit bashed characters with all of his metal done. So, yeah, that was a very productive 2-hour paint session. Now, I wonder if I'll continue working on these tomorrow, or just shelf them again. But it was really nice to just sit down and take 2 hours and just get to paint. I didn't have to worry too hard about what I was doing, and I just painted. And they already look that much better. Well, it's the next morning, and I think these models are going to get some more attention. Because the alternative is to actually get up and move them off the table, and I don't feel like that. So we're going to get some more painting done. It's been another half hour, so we're 2.5 hours in, and I just have a few more spear guys to do the rough iron in, but I actually feel like going and doing something else for a little bit. So we'll return momentarily. Alright, that was another 30 minutes. I think, overall, I've spent 3 hours, and I have 2 colors down on everything, except for my 4 characters that I'm going to be putting more effort into. Like, these 4 are primed differently because I know I'm going to do a different job with them. But, I've been working on these Uruk-Hai lately, so that's what I'm caring about. So I think I might do some leather next. Yeah, that sounds good. Let's do some leather. Okay, so I started working with my beige brown for the leathers, and I realized there's not very much skin on these models. I was originally going to just do an oil wash and have that turn the color I wanted it, but I think I might actually need to just do red skin on these guys because there's not very much skin. And with a quick little bit of detail, I'll get a much better color contrast from the leather, and I can still do the wash that I want to, but I might as well just pick out the skin tone as well. And I still need to figure out the hair color, and the bows and arrows shouldn't be that hard to do. But, you know, half an hour of work on these to get the leather done. Um, I probably have another 2 hours, maybe 3 hours of that before I do anything else. Now that I'm 4 hours in, I'm starting to see some colors. I'm seeing where I want to keep on going. I see what needs to change and what I like. A new day. Going back to these. Or maybe not? It's been a couple of days. How about I put another 2 hours into these guys? That sounds like a great idea. Well, okay. I got an hour in. I didn't finish all of the brown, but I got most of it done. Um, maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow I finish the brown. New day. Time to keep on painting. Hey, the leather brown step is done. Yay! It only took another half hour. I think the flesh needs to be redder. So, flesh time. An hour later, and I have the red and the wood done on all of these guys. That is quite nice. And I think, am I really just ready for an oil wash now? I think these guys are ready for the oil wash. Now to wait for that nice weather that I've been waiting for to do some work. This has been quite an enjoyable speed paint. They don't have a huge number of details, but I think that the wash is going to do a great job pulling out all of the little details. And yes, I left the hair plain. And I still have the 4 characters, but overall, 43 models are ready for an oil wash. Heck yeah. Today's the day. We finally get to do the oil washes. Yay! So a quick note here when wiping off oils, be careful that you're not using too much pressure because I popped an arm off of this guy and broke that conversion that I had done right there. I should be able to super glue that back together, but that was a little bit disappointing. And also, be aware of your surroundings because if you're not, a piece being lost like this can mean you don't have that model's arm anymore. Yeah, it's somewhere out in the backyard. Oh well. Maybe I'll paint it like it's bloody or something. I don't know. But, yeah. But overall, I have a really nice oil wash on all of these guys, and I am going to wait to let that dry before I do the basing. Well, it's been a couple of weeks. I'm sure that the oil wash is dry enough to mess around with now. So today is the basing day, and I'm going to use the brown earth texture as the base, and I'm going to mix up some of these old herbs in a container so that I can use it as ground cover. And then when I'm done with that, I'm actually going to use the beastly brown as the rim color because I want to do something a little bit different, and I'm not going to do a black base rim. That way, this force will look a little bit more unique on the tabletop. I'm keeping it very muted in the browns and reds, and even the ground cover is not going to be very bright, and I think that'll help with the Uruk feeling. So here we go. Time to put texture paste on bases. And here we are. Our Uruk-Hai army is complete and ready for the battlefield. We have 4 character models to paint up at some later date, but the masked Uruk-Hai and the 4 converted models, so that we have a warrior leader and 2 scout leaders and a banner bearer available, so we can actually field all of these models without purchasing anything else. But we have 6 scouts, 7 with shields, 9 warriors with shields, 9 warriors with spears, and 8 bows. Scouts with bows. And so we actually have, I think, about 600 points that we can actually field in the new edition. So once I get my characters painted up, I'm looking forward to finding someone to play a game with. But until that time, my Uruks are going to sit on a shelf. But what a wonderful journey this has been, and I look forward to getting these characters up and running at some point. But I wanted to take my time on them. But until then, I hope you enjoyed the journey. Subscribe if you haven't, so that you don't miss any future videos. I also want to thank my patrons and supporters for making these videos possible. And until next time, I hope you find your bit of bliss.